Hi, everyone. Welcome to our weekly Team Set It Off call. I'm Jen in his house. You can see Brandy, and Kelly, and Michelle, and we're here on the week of Christmas, and we're here to start our 2017 on the right foot. And if you're waiting till 2017 to start figuring out what you're doing, you're already behind the eight ball. And so tonight's call is all about implementing a strategy from this book, The 12-Week Year. And it's a very inexpensive book. I think it's like $14, $15 on Amazon. It's a short read. As you can tell, it's a short little guy. You can get it on Audible. It's a little bit like kind of a little bit dry at times. But I think with the simplicity of this system, we'll be able to have an amazing 12 weeks. So that's the first 3 months of 2017, that you'll be able to get more done in 12 weeks than other people do in 12 months. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen. Oh no, hold on. Where is it? Okay, here we go. All right. Oh no, hold on. Wicket. Okay. Spin it backwards. Okay. The 12-week year overview. So just know I'm basically giving you like the cliff notes of what this book is about. So if you want further detail on the things that I'm going to be explaining, please get the book. Like, you should get it. Especially, I think pretty much everybody has Amazon Prime, and if you don't, it's a life changer. Like, I didn't think I ordered that much stuff on Amazon until I got Amazon Prime, and now I'm just like, whatever, I'm gonna order this, order that, because it's free. Anyways, let's start off with the call with recognition. This one was pulling some teeth this week, which I don't like. So if you're watching this live or you're watching the replay, oh my gosh, help a sister out. And I'll explain why in a second. But first and foremost, Success Club shout outs so far this month. Crystal, those two names that I'm not going to butcher, which is in Crystal's downline. Whitney, Vanessa, Aaron, and myself. But the month is not over by any means, so it's still anybody's month. And just so you know, the Beachbody corporate gift for hitting Success Club this month is a exclusive webcast with Elizabeth Gilbert. I think that's her name. She's the lady that wrote Eat, Pray, Love, and also the book Big Magic. So it's going to be an amazing webcast where you're just going to get nuggets of information. And that's the thing about personal development and reading books like this, or just reading in general, listening to audiobooks or podcasts, that you just don't know what someone's going to say that's going to literally be that catalyst, that thing that you're like, oh, like it's going to be your aha moment. So that's why I always strongly encourage everybody to dive into personal development, and especially when Beachbody is offering incentives in that sense, that if you help at least 3 people get started with Shakeology and a fitness program for the new year for our Healthy Bet group, that they're going to treat you. And then time for I See You Baby. I See You Baby recognition shout outs. So the shout outs for this week, someone who will remain anonymous said, if it's not too late, I want to nominate Jan for resetting and recommitting after some time off and beginning Core to Force. Brandy Rich for showing up every single day in our groups and encouraging others. Sarah Yu for completing Core to Force in her first month of Shakeology. Lisa Wolf for making true strides in her goals of Emerald Rank Coach. And Jen, for achieving Success Club 4. And leading by example this month. Jen inspires me to reach out and invite despite my fears. Jen shares so much daily personal development and inspirational materials that it's easier to find motivation even on the tough days. Oh, thank you. And also I wanted to recognize Shavana, the coach who just finished the Ultimate Reset is Shavana. And then also shouting out Noella. I shouted out Noella on my personal page yesterday. So if you're watching this, Definitely whenever you see other coaches shouting out other coaches on our team, like you see us recognizing each other, definitely, or recognize somebody that inspires you. I mean, this is what it's all about. Recognition is a vital behavior of being a Beachbody coach. And it's such an amazing opportunity that you can make this a tribe, a team, not just the You show, right? Not just the Kelly show or the Brandy show or the Michelle show or the Jen show. It's like when you recognize other people publicly on your page for just whatever. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Someone doesn't have to lose an insane amount of weight for you to go and just recognize them. That's why we have you double check, or that's why we have you go through Coach Basics to make sure all your posts are public, so that if someone wants to share your post, that they can and just say a little blurb about it, and it just makes us feel good. So I shouted out Noella because she has been just consistently on it for the last 6 months, and I see her dip down a little bit. Like I can see her kind of like, we all go through those phases, right? You kind of hit plateaus, especially with the holidays. It's easier to kind of be like, well, I'm just gonna be a little relaxed, but I see her still showing up every single day, which I'm super proud of. So that's recognition. Let's get to the content. Okay, so the 12-week year. The 12-week year. Why the 12-week year? Well, here are some bullet points that'll help you understand why this is such a great strategy for goal setting and something that you should consider. In terms, especially, this is such a great topic with the new year coming, but you know how a lot of people will make New Year's resolutions, or I don't know about you, but I'll make annual goals for sure. The last couple weeks of the year being like, okay, well, where do I want to be this time next year? And like, what are my big goals? And and I'm not afraid to dream. The more you start goal setting, the more you give yourself permission to not be quote unquote realistic. And so, but what I have found for myself is that these goals are so freaking big that it's kind of like, okay, like for example, for me, it was like, oh, I want to be 5-star by the end of 2016. Well, when I said at the beginning of the year, I just said by the end of the year, I wanted that goal. So that deadline was so far away. It's so far away, right? It's just like anything. If you're getting if you want to lose 10 pounds for a trip coming up and it's not until 6 months out, right? How many people will wait until literally the last month before they're like, oh no, I got to get it together, right? So deadlines help us stay motivated to achieving our goals. Implementing the 12-week year will help you reduce mistakes, save time, and provide focus, and also take back control of your day, increase your income, balance the priorities in your life, lower your stress, and accomplish your goals in record time. So instead of thinking annual goals, switch to 12 weeks, which is essentially a week equals a month. Pretty exciting, right? So hopefully that's a compelling reason why you should implement the 12-week year. So the first thing for the 12-week year is getting committed. And it was very interesting. They actually defined it by the American Heritage Dictionary that commitment is the state of being bound emotionally and intellectually to a course of action. So this isn't just your mind, it's definitely your heart. It's your heart and your mind together being committed to something. And so the 4 keys to successful commitment, and I'm sure, and I'm just gonna preface this as well as saying that the things I'm covering right now, I know you already know this, we're just giving this a name. So just, I encourage you to take notes. I encourage you to, look back at this call and take notes and say these things out loud and talk about it to somebody else, because that will help really embed this system into you, because it's not rocket science what we're teaching. It's very, very elementary and simplistic. But that's the thing, is that the more simple something is, the easier it'll be to execute. So the 4 keys to successful commitment, number 1, it's a strong desire. You've got to know why you want it. If I say, oh, I want to have 5% body fat, or I want abs, or I want, $5,000 in my savings, and I just want to say it, You know what I mean? There's not a whole lot of attachment behind it. Like intellectually, it sounds really good, but there's no emotion behind it. So you've really got to take some time to understand what you want to commit yourself to and have a strong desire. And specifically to what we do with coaching, having a strong desire, whether that's hitting Success Club or reaching a certain rank or helping a certain amount of people, you know, the strong desire will come from more exposure to what coaches do in general. So this is why listening to National Wake Up Calls is very important. Checking out other coaches' YouTubes, maybe just following a couple of the top 10 coaches, just to get an idea of like what Beachbody can really do for you. I'm telling you that any goals that you have that you don't like, you're like, Beachbody has nothing to do with my goal of, you know, paying off my credit card. Yeah, it does though. Like you're sitting on a vehicle that could be so many different things for you. So having that strong desire will definitely come from exposure and really meditating on kind of like what you want. So then the next thing for commitment is keystone actions. So if once you decide what you want, you've got to identify the actions that are going to get you to that goal. So if you say, I want to lose 10 pounds, well, this is I got to commit to a workout program. I got to drink my Shakeology every day. It could even be little things like I need to get the 21-day fix tracker and track my food every single day. I need to show up on my social media every single day. Like, what are the actions that you can take that are the keystone actions to get you that desired result? And then the third thing for successful commitment, and this is a big one, is count the costs. So think about what you're going to have to sacrifice in order to have the thing that you want. Like if you want to have, you know, that banging body, you and I both already know it's going to take some sacrifice. It's you saying when someone asks you, hey, do you want a drink? And you're like, no, it's okay. I got my water, you know, even though you're like, kind of like, oh man, right. Or they're like, hey, do you want, you know, another serving, or do you want some cookies? Or, you know, these are little things that they don't seem like a lot in the moment, but for you, that's that little tiny sacrifice that it makes you feel good. It makes you feel like you have the discipline, you know, and it's changing that verbiage in your head to know that you're giving something up for something better. And so then number 4 would be acting on your commitments and not your feelings. So once you decide what are the actions you need to take, what are the things you're going to have to sacrifice for the time being, you know, especially with the 12 weeks, because they're talking about specifically 12-week goals. So this isn't forever, which is kind of nice, right? Like if you're just like, okay, listen, I have to sacrifice drinking for like 3 months. Like it's not forever. So it won't feel so overwhelming that your brain just shuts off and you self-sabotage. And having that strong desire, you know, and once you have this plan, you know that when your alarm clock goes off at 5:30 in the morning, because you know that's the only time you can work out, because you sure know you're not going to work out at night, right? Or maybe you're just like a 12, 13, 14-hour day, that even though your bed is warm and even though you don't feel like getting out of your bed, you know you have to go and get up and you got to do the damn thing anyways. So that's a little bit on commitment. The execution system for the 12-week year talks about 5 different components. So these components, very quickly, we're gonna talk about each one more in depth. But the first one is vision. The second one is planning. The third one is process control. The fourth one is measurement. And the final one is time use. So before we talk about each individual component or discipline for the 12-week year, I included this chart because it's in the book, and I think it's a really good thing to put a name to the times that you have quit on things you know you wanted to change, but then you're like, it's too hard, and you take the path of least resistance. So he calls them phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4, and phase 5. So the first phase is uninformed optimism, right? Where this is the one where you wake up on Monday and you're like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to eat healthy and fuck cookies. And I'm stronger than my excuses. And I'm going to do 15 workouts a day, right? Like uninformed optimism. And then phase 2 is informed pessimism. So this is like, dang it. Like, now I know what this is going to take, and I'm going to have to sacrifice, and it's not just all, rainbows and sunshine. Like, I'm going to have to say no to things that I would like to do because they make me feel good. But I know they're not good for my long-term goals. And then we reach this point where they call it the valley of despair, where you're doing the damn thing and nothing seems to be happening. Right. And some people, this happens, pointing to myself, on day 3 or day 4 of a program, and you think just because you haven't eaten a whole bag of cookies for 2 nights in a row, you suddenly deserve to be 6 pounds lighter. Right? And you're like, where are my abs? And why am I jiggling? Or it might be in relation to coaching, where it's like, I've messaged 20 people like this week and everyone said no. Or not even like this week, maybe you're like, I've talked to everybody, every single person in the entire world, and everyone thinks this is too expensive, or they don't want to do it. Right? And so it becomes the valley of despair, and there just seems to be no hope. And so that's where most people quit, because it gets tough, and it's like, it's time to change your approach. It's time to change your mindset, and most people will quit. But if you can just make it out of the valley of despair and keep going, keep pushing, then you hit phase 4, which is informed optimism, which you lose the 5 pounds, you get someone to buy a challenge pack or become a coach with you. And so you have a little bit of success, and you're like, I can do this. Like, it makes it all worth it, right? Sometimes that 1 pound or that pair of jeans or that person even just giving you the glimmer of hope that they're like, yeah, I want to work out with you. Yeah, that Shakeology sounds good. It can be that thing that's that catalyst that just gives you just a little bit of like, okay, I'm informed, like this works. Like I just need to keep repeating, wash, rinse, repeat, wash, rinse, repeat. So then eventually you will reach success and fulfillment and achieve your goal. Okay. So step 1 is vision. So I'm gonna blast through these. So that's why you should buy this book. So they talk about breaking it down into long-term aspirations. So this is thinking about long term, okay? Like in the next 5, 10 years, 15 years. Where do you want to be physically? Where do you want to be mentally? Where do you want to be spiritually? What are your relationships like? What are your finances like? What are you doing professionally? How do you feel personally? So it's just kind of like the whole combination of your entire sphere of you and fulfillment, and what's going to make you happy, because what makes Sally Joe happy doesn't make Jen happy, right? So long-term aspirations. I love this quote that they put in the book where it says, if you don't know where you are going, you'll end up somewhere. Right? You never stay in one place. You're either getting better or you're getting worse, right? You're either going up or you're going down. And so the true success comes to those who know exactly what they want out of life and where they're going to go. Is it going to be exactly word for word, what you envision? No, but it's going to be pretty damn close, right? Like if I didn't have the vision that I wanted to live in California, Southern California, in my mind, I was going to live in San Diego, but Los Angeles is pretty freaking close, right? So, taking time to think about long-term aspirations, then cutting them down into 3-year, and then from that you can start diving into your 12-week goals. So thinking in those categories, you can start to think, okay, what do I want to focus on? What's my vision? And what can I do in the next 3 months to start working towards it? So common pitfalls with this is that you don't take the power of vision seriously. The vision isn't meaningful to you. Your vision is too small. You don't get connected to your vision. You don't connect your vision to your daily actions, right? So if you're just like, I'm just working out, I'm just talking to people and get told no. And you're not connecting it to the fact that if you just push through those things, then you're going to have that energy that you've been looking for, or that vacation body you want, or that you'll be able to pay off credit card debt or any debt, or save for a vacation, or save for your child's college, or give back, or quit your day job, whatever it is, right? Like, you have to understand the daily grind is it's gonna wear down on you. And so connecting yourself to your bigger vision will help you get through those tougher days. So the tips they have for you with your vision is to share it with others. Stay in touch with your vision. So vision boards are excellent for this. Or what are they called? Oh my gosh, I can't think of the name. Cork boards, like get them at Target, cork boards, and you can just cork up, you can pin up photos of things that you're working towards, things that are inspiring to you. And then live with intention. Just know that everything that you do has a consequence, right? It's either moving you closer to your goal or an error in judgment. Okay, step number 2 is planning. So they talk about setting goals. So making them specific and measurable, stating them positively, ensuring that they are a realistic stretch, assigning accountability, and obviously being time bound. So with the specific and measurable, they mean like, okay, like how many calls are you going to make? Or what's the amount of money that you want to make? Or how many people are you going to talk to? Or how many people do you want to help? Excuse me. With the realistic stretch, they're talking about like referrals, for example. If you set a goal, and I've done this, and I was like, wow, this is a really good wake up reminder for me to not be over ambitious, is that, you know, if you set a goal to ask for a referral from every single person you talk to, and you have never done that before, and it scares the bejesus out of you, then a more realistic goal would be to ask for a referral once a week, right? So, no more, so specifically for the 12 weeks, they talk about no more than 3 big goals. Then once you come up with the 3 big goals that you want, you're going to have to come up with tactics and actions for each one of those goals. And here's the thing that they talk about that's really big is like to not overcommit yourself, right? To not get over ambitious in the sense that like, you're like, I'm going to build myself a website, and I'm going to do Facebook ads, and I'm going to post 10 times a day, and I'm going to talk to 50 people every single day, and I'm going to do follow-ups. And you know what I mean? Like, this is like, some people get really like overly like, let me do all of the things. So when they fall short, it's like, you never get that gratifying feeling of like, I accomplished something, I'm moving myself forward. So when you think of your actions to help you achieve your goals, ask yourself, what will I struggle with? And what will I do to overcome them? So if you're like, okay, well, I'm going to make it a goal to, you know, invite 20 people a week. And the biggest struggle with that is my time. So I will just make sure, you know, to overcome that, I'll do it first thing in the morning. Like I'll reach out to 5 people first thing in the morning, or whatever it is. Like just thinking of tactics that you can use to help you overcome any struggles. So they say the common pitfalls with planning is that your 12-week plan does not align with your long-term vision. You aren't staying focused. You're not making the tough choices, which is what I just talked about, selecting fewer tactics. You don't keep it simple, and you don't make it meaningful, meaning that you're kind of making goals to impress other people, and you're not really doing it for yourself. So you want to do what feels right to you. The third step is process control. So once you come up with your goals, the next big thing that you're going to want to do is set yourself up for success. So this means scoring your week, planning your weeks, and then participating in WHAMs. So in the next slide, we'll talk about scoring your weeks, but what ends up happening is once you set your 12-week goals, 3 of your 12-week goals, or you can have less than that, you can have 2 or 1, whatever, is that you're not just gonna be like, okay, that's it, this is the 12-week goal. You're actually gonna take it week by week. and you're going to assign different due dates. So it might be that you do something every single week, but there might be certain things that you do on week 1 or halfway through. And so every single week, you're kind of basically making a weekly to-do list for yourself and then planning your days accordingly. So planning your week, I mean, that's essentially the most important part. They said a statistic that 60 to 80% people are more likely to execute a written plan versus a plan that's just in their head. And I can attest to that, where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to invite like 200 people to my health bet event, but I never write it down and I never like hold myself to it. So it's easier to just kind of be like, yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. The trap of I'll do it tomorrow. And then lastly, the weekly accountability meetings. So this is meeting with about 2 to 4 other people, 15 to 20 minutes, at the beginning of the week. You guys talk about your 12 weeks to date. You talk about your weekly execution score. You talk about your intentions for the upcoming week. And then feedback and suggestions from the group. And then that's probably going to be in terms of like, do you have like some big family event coming up? Is it Christmas this week? Like, and then everybody kind of brainstorming and masterminding together. So the common pitfalls with process control is that you don't plan each week. So you fall into the trap of being like, I don't have time to do it. I don't need to do it. I'm above it. I know it. And I don't want to be accountable. Another pitfall is that you include all of your tasks to make it super overwhelming. So when we're talking about your 12-week plan and then you start blocking out times, which we'll talk about in just a little bit, this isn't on top of the other stuff that you have to do in your normal life, right? So they don't want you to bombard yourself with all of the things. They just want you to be focused with what you want to accomplish, those 3 specific goals in the next 12 weeks, because you're still going to have to live life and be a normal human being. Another pitfall is assuming that each week is the same. Another pitfall is that you keep adding stuff to your plate, so you keep adding more tactics weekly. You don't use it to guide your day, so you don't even look at your plan, right? Your blocked out time or what you should be doing at what time, and then also obviously not making a part of your routine, like writing your goals down and being like, okay, cool, and then you don't look at it for 12 weeks. Oh my goodness, 9 minutes. Okay, we can do this. We can do this. Why did my presentation go away? Present. Okay. So they were talking about measurement. So measurement is important because they talk about this concept of your lead and your lag indicators on your score for your execution. So you know how I just talked about, okay, you're going to score your week? Well, this is the measurement. This is what we're talking about. You're going to score each individual goal and the tactics you said that you were going to do that week. So your lead indicators are essentially like, okay, let's see if I can find the example in here. So if you were going to lose 10 pounds and you said that your let's see. Oh, here we go. Okay, so if you said that you're going to lose 10 pounds and you said that your 4 tactics for the week were to limit your calorie intake to 1,200 calories or less per day, you're going to do 20 minutes of cardio a minimum of 3 times a week, you're going to drink at least 6 glasses of water each day, and you're going to train with weights 3 times a week. So if you're looking at your score, and let's say you did 3 of the 4 actions that you said you were going to do that week, then that would be a score of 75%, because you only completed 3 of the 4 tactics. So they want you to score not necessarily like stepping on the scale, because you could have lost 2 pounds that week, but they want you more focused on the execution for your scoring rather than, they call it your lag. So your lag is like the actual goal. and so they want you to focus on the lead indicators, which is what are the execution steps you're taking. So when this happens, though, whenever we score ourselves, there becomes this productive tension. So, you know, the biggest thing that people do is either they stop the discomfort, so they go easy on themselves, they go, that doesn't really matter to me, or they stop doing the things that they were doing, or they can let it be a catalyst to their goals. So like, for example, Kelly, you know, even though it's been really hard to get people to commit to a challenge pack, she could either be like, whatever, I'm done with this, I'm just going to go full time with the vet tech clinic, and I'm just going to forget about coaching. If people want to come up to me and they need help, I'll help them. Otherwise, whatever, right? She could stop the discomfort and go that route. Or she could use that tension and be like, this is a catalyst to me reaching my goals. Okay, I'm just finding out things that are working, or I'm spending too much time talking to these certain people, or I'm not saying the right thing, or I need to be talking to more people, or I need to change my approach, or whatever, you know what I mean? So measurement is good. So the pitfalls with measurement is that people think measurement is too complicated or it's unimportant. They also think that you don't schedule a block of time, or people don't schedule a block of time each week to assess their progress. So it's just kind of like doing this, la, 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 and you're not looking back at it. It's like not stepping on the scale and seeing, are you gaining weight? Are you losing weight? Are you staying the same? As much as it sucks and it hurts, you kind of have to do it sometimes. There are certain things that you're going to have to do, especially if those goals are important to you. And another pitfall is that people just abandon the system when it doesn't score well. Tips is that you should review your weekly score with a success partner or your WAM, your weekly accountability group. You commit to making progress each week. You remember that a weekly score of less than 85% isn't bad, especially if maybe you scored really low the first week and then you start making strides. So you're just trying to do better than you did the previous week, if that makes sense. And then don't be afraid to confront what the numbers are telling you. If it's not pretty, if it doesn't feel good, like, pain is there to serve you. Pain isn't like something where it's like, let me just go watch Netflix and drink wine and eat cookies and forget about it. It's like, no, look at the numbers, let that pain seep into you a little bit, but then let it be your catalyst to be like, okay, what I'm doing isn't working. And recommitting to your 12-week goal. Okay, time use, and I think this is the last one, time use. So you're going to block out your time. The 3 different times that they talk about is your strategic, your buffer, and your breakout. So your strategic blocks of time are 3-hour blocks of time that you can do at least once a week. This is where you don't accept any phone calls, you're not on Facebook, no one can bother you. This is like straight up dead focused time. And these are things you're going to do specifically for your 12-week goal. So these aren't any other goals. These are like specifically, like if you need to research something, if you need to watch some videos, if you need to sit there and message a bunch of people or whatever you need to do, that's your strategic block. Your buffer block is, they recommend that you have a buffer block once or twice a day for just the stuff that's like, you know, people coming up to you with questions, things that weren't planned for, just the administrative tasks, things like that. And then a breakout block they recommend once a week during your work hours, a 3-hour block where you don't do work. So, you know, you just go have some fun, you go relax your mind a little bit. So they encourage you to have breakout blocks where you get to rest your mind and not just keep trying to power and plow through it and let's work until we can't open our eyes anymore. Like they really, they say there's a big value to giving yourself a little bit of rest. So the common pitfalls for these is that you conduct business as usual. You don't focus one thing at a time in your strategic blocks. You allow distractions to steal your attention. I'm really good at that. You think being busy is the same as being productive. So the tips for them is to work from a well-written weekly plan, which there are PDFs that I'll put up in our team page after this that you can see examples. And then another tip is to input your model week into your calendar. So whether that's on your phone, on Google, on your laptop, whatever you use, your Outlook, whatever. Let's see how much time we have. 2 minutes. So the last thing was just talking about taking ownership, and I'm just going to read through these really quickly. Is that, so taking ownership. So he talks a lot about accountability is not about consequences. So when you have your accountability groups, it's not really to condemn the other people. Like, let's say someone in your group was like, I'm going to work out 5 times a week, and then they didn't, and you guys get together. It's not like, let's all make this person feel bad because they didn't do their 5 workouts. It's more of like it's them taking ownership over their own goals. So resolve to never be the victim, stop feeling sorry for yourself, be willing to take different actions, associate with people that are accountable to their own actions, become aware if you're having a lot of victim conversations, model accountability, clarify your expectations, learn from your life, aka reflect, and focus on the future. So that was a lot, you guys. Definitely, if that was intriguing, go on Amazon, 12-week year. Like I said, I will post up the PDFs of the plans, so you can get a better idea of what I'm talking about. But I just wanted to explain the concepts and give you a new strategic tactic so that you can execute and have an amazing 2017. So
everybody smile for picture.
Oh yeah.
Please. Come on, beauties. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. You guys are so gorgeous.
Okay, one more. 1, 2, 3. That's not awkward, right? You're like, 1, 2, 3. All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for hopping on. And again, I'll post the PDFs in our team page. And definitely check out the 12-week year. It's a great $15 investment to hit some goals if you really want to make 2017 your year. All right, guys. Have a good one.
Night.